Today we are checking out Clawdbot and we're going to test out directly with something called Google Anti-Gravity. So essentially we've got a Clawbot running here. It can create like avatar videos, it can create voice notes, it can create videos. It can pretty much do anything that we train it to do. But one thing that I want to test out with today is using local applications. So you can see here, for example, so can you run Google Anti-Gravity locally for me? It didn't quite get it. And then I said, no, the actual application on my laptop. And it said done, launched, boom. And then it actually opened up like you can see right here. So we can actually get this to code directly with us whilst we're using this tool. So let's try another one. So we're going to go inside here and say, okay, with anti-gravity, with Google Anti-Gravity, please can you code out a website for SEO? Something like that. You see it's now responding. If you have any questions as we go along, by the way, feel free to ask. You can see here it's opening up a new window and it's created the index HTML along with the style CSS, and we have it ready to go like so. All right. So you can see here it says done, opening anti-gravity, created an SEO optimized website. Here's the SEO features, blah, blah, blah. Right. And if we actually go to anti-gravity, this is the project it created. So it actually created a separate window for Google Anti-Gravity like this. And then we can pull this up. So if we reveal it in Finder, we've got the index and HTML and style CSS here, right? So the cool thing about this is it can actually operate different AI coding agents for us whilst we're building with this, right? And bear in mind, we're just doing this through Telegram. So it's controlling my laptop through Telegram in plain English. We don't need to be able to code, and you don't even need to be able to know how to use something like Google Anti-Gravity anymore. And then you can see here directly, it's actually created the website. So it coded out this website and then opened it up in Google Anti-Gravity. Pretty insane how easy that was to do. Now, I'd be interested to know, okay, can we open this up inside the terminal? So can we get Clawbot, open it up inside the terminal, and then get it to use that directly? Now, before we do that, Mr. Joseph says, how do you get it to control your browser? So let me show you exactly how that works, right? If you want it to control your browser, what you want to do is install this extension, and it's called Clawbot Browser Relay. Now, if you want to learn how to do that, we have a lot of training in this inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So you can see we actually have a full 3-hour course on Clawbot and how to use it, along with a setup guide. And if you want to learn how to set up the models, so let's say, for example, you want to learn how to set up the Chrome extension. What I'm actually going to do is I will take this like so, along with the setup instructions, which you can see right here, and I'll put that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. It's available, link in the comments description, or go to the AIProfitBoardroom.com and you can get access to it right there. All right. So you can see here we've got the installation instructions, and then we have the extension. And we have a full 3-hour course on Clawbot inside the AI Profit Boardroom if you want to get access to this stuff, right? And the way that works is you would just go inside here. And you can say inside the chat, okay, go to Google using Chrome extension and search for the latest AI news, something like that. Now you can see it's using Clawbot browser relay to debug the browser. And that's how it can control your browser, right? So you can see now it's controlling my browser. It's connected to Chrome, and it's searching for the latest AI news using the instructions from Telegram, right? So that's how you can get it to control your browser directly. JCast says, did you install Clawbot on a VPS or on a local computer? So I installed it using Mac Mini, and then you can use it inside AWS as well. If you want to get the instructions for setting up on AWS, we've got it inside the Clawbot training. It's pretty straightforward, to be honest, and you can use AWS, which is a free VPS, to set that up directly if you want to use it on there. I actually wouldn't recommend it though. I've seen a lot of issues with people setting it up on AWS directly, so just be careful with that, because if you expose certain parts of it, you have to be really careful. But there are MCPs you can set up that will protect you online if you're using VPS. I'm just not an expert on that, so I'm not going to talk you through it today. But if you want the VPS setup details, get it inside the AI Profit Boardroom along with this 3-hour course. All right. So we've talked about how to get this to run inside your browser and also with Google Anti-Gravity, so it can control your local laptop and it can also control your Chrome browser as well. And then what about if you want to set up the rest of it? Okay, so if you go onto here and we say, okay, how can I use you in my Google Anti-Gravity terminal so that you can see my project files, etc. Right? Then I'll take a screenshot of Google Anti-Gravity like this. Let's grab a screenshot right there, copy that, go back to Google Chrome, paste that in. This is the Anti-Gravity IDE. I'd be interested to know if we can actually access Claude inside the terminal. I think we probably can. And then we can start using this to code as well. So we'll try that out in a sec. But so far, you can see it's already coded out a website for us using Google Anti-Gravity. So you can not only code, but it can control stuff locally. And it's pretty simple and easy. All right. So we can keep chatting here if you want to use it alongside Anti-Gravity, and it can read or edit any file that you're working on. Just tell them the path, right? So for example, edit the index HTML and SEO website, right? Or you can actually go to Anti-Gravity's terminal and you could run Clawbot chat like this, right? So if we go to Anti-Gravity, then we go to terminal here, we'll plug this in like that, see if that works. That doesn't work directly, so I'm actually going to paste that back into here and say, okay, didn't seem to work, mate. Then it's having a little think about it, as you can see. And we could try those instead, right? But I think the easiest way is like it recommends using it inside Telegram. So let's try that instead, right? we're going to say, okay, in anti-gravity for this folder, right? And then we'll take this page, which is okay, but we can make it 10 times better. And say, research Julian Goldie, find out as much information as you can with it. Then I want you to include some testimonials, some social proofs, some more information about Julian Goldie and Goldie Agency. I also want to make sure that you embed some of his YouTube videos and just make it as personalized as you can to Julian Goldie. Make the whole page direct response style, and then we're good to go. All right, so we've got the project that it's connected to right here that I actually built out originally. And I think you could actually get it to operate the chat as well if you prefer, so you could actually edit the chat over here too. It does seem to forget context sometimes as well, like you can see right here, all right? So I'm going to go back into Google Anti-Gravity, copy this. Lance said, I'm sorry, what did I miss? So far we've set up Clawbot with Google Anti-Gravity. It coded out a website, opened up Google Anti-Gravity locally, and built the page itself as well. So that's what we're working on right now. So you can see now it's beginning to edit the page. It's got like information and access to YouTube. It's included a link to goldieagency.com as well. So it's customizing the HTML, coding this out locally for us inside this anti-gravity. iVideo Game Boss says, I think it forgets because it's a screenshot. Yeah, I think you're right there. I think like the context, sometimes it drops. So that, and it works as a orchestrator. Yeah, that's it 100%. It works as an orchestrator that can like manage different AI agents, right? Imagine, for example, if we had Google Anti-Gravity set up, but then we also installed, for example, the toolkit like Anti-Gravity 2.0 as well inside the content, like it would be even better, you know? So I'm now going to save the project. There we go. And then I'm going to try something different now. I'm going to say, okay, try operating the chat inside Google Anti-Gravity, the actual chat on the side, which uses Gemini. Now it's actually changing the CSS as well, as you can see. So it's editing the HTML structure, and then it's going to enhance the CSS latency. So it'll look better in a minute. You can see it's already changed quite a bit. And it's added more information inside the page, but it still needs to add the CSS to the project as well, which it's doing inside Telegram too. Are you controlling everything with your steps? That's the secret, mate. Didn't want to tell anyone about that. Dean AI says, I find it hard to describe something I'm not entirely educated about AI, for example. Animations, so getting Claude to do it would be massive. Yes, you can just use Remotion inside Claude, ask it to install Remotion, and then it can do animations for you. Can it watch a YouTube video and comment on it? I'm pretty sure it could if you wanted to. Wouldn't recommend it though. I think stuff like that could get traced pretty quickly. All right, so it's improved the CSS now. Now you can see it looks a lot better. It's added like some nice animations, some testimonials, information about us and who we are, blah, blah, blah. And the page looks way better, right? So you can see how you can use Google Anti-Gravity with Clawbot, and then you can have Clawbot actually use Anti-Gravity as an orchestrator, or you can build your projects locally with Clawbot and then improve them inside Anti-Gravity. But basically, they can both work together. Pretty simple and easy to set up. You can get Anti-Gravity for free, and you can also run Clawbot for free if you are using their GitHub along with Ollama integration, because Ollama runs APIs locally, which means that you can use Clawbot locally for free. Nice. Farhan says, does the model we choose really determine the performance? I saw you use Claude, and what if it uses a free model like Ollama? I'm actually going to test that, but for sure, like the API that you use is totally, it makes a huge difference, right? So for example, if I'm using Claude Opus 4.5, that's like probably the best API in the world when it comes to AI, right? And so Clawdbot is going to be way smarter than if I use something like GLM or Minimax to operate it, right? Which are cheaper models, but not quite as intelligent and not quite as good at like browser control and stuff like that. So for sure, when you're using these APIs, if you pick something that's more intelligent, you're going to get better outputs, right? It's just as simple as that. So that's basically how to use Clawdbot, as you can see. If you want to get all the documentation, if you want to get the tips, if you want to connect with me personally, get all the stuff inside the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments and description, or go to aiprofitboardroom.com, where you have a 3-hour course, plus a full setup guide and the copy and paste instructions for using Clawbot. And if you struggle with anything, you can ask inside the community and get help and support whenever you need it. Plus, inside the calendar, we do 4 weekly coaching calls, so you can actually jump on a live call and get the support that you need. And also it comes with all my best trainings. So if you want to go from like complete beginner, maybe you don't have much experience with AI, then you can go from beginner to expert in just 5 weeks. Plus you learn how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. If you want to get my best playbooks that I use for my business, like for example, shorts, avatar videos, screen shares, newsletters, Twitter, automate my emails, you can do that with the playbook section here. If you want to get more clients for your agency, then you can check out the agency course. If you want to rank #1 with AI SEO, you can actually learn that right here. And also if you want to do YouTube AI, you can learn that right here. All right. Pretty simple and easy. So feel free to get that link in the comments and description, or just go to aiprofitboardroom.com. Yobi says, I heard Claude was in violation of terms of service. Yeah, so if you're using the API, you can just use a different API provider, right? So if you don't want to use Claude with Clawdbot, then you can just use a different API provider. So that way you stay compliant and you make sure you're not doing anything bad, right? Francis says it's impossible to use Opus 4.5 through Anti-Gravity. It has no capacity even with Google Pro. Yeah, so the way that I did it, as you saw today, is like we just used Clawdbot, which is connected to Opus 4.5, and then inside Anti-Gravity, I'm actually using Gemini 3 Flash, right? So inside Anti-Gravity itself, I'm not using Claude Opus, but using Clawbot, that has Opus, and Clawbot can operate Anti-Gravity. So that's how it works, right? That's how you set it up. Lance says, how can I integrate my real estate business into this? So you could use it for creating landing pages, mini apps, lead magnets, etc. With Clawdbot, or it could, for example, like create avatar videos or whatever you want for you, right? If you want to get more playbooks on that and tips with that, you can join the AI Profit Boardroom. And also, if you type in real estate in the search here, there's actually 65 members who are doing real estate with AI too, right? So you can see everyone here that's doing real estate with AI. So if you want to connect with loads of people who are using AI in the real estate industry, if you want to get my best playbooks for using real estate related AI automations, just check out the AI Profit Boardroom. Tarek says, hey, Julian, good to see you. Good to see you too. All right, so today I'm going to show you how I ranked on Google with Clawdbot. And this is a pretty crazy case study because I only created this a few hours ago. So you can see, for example, for the keyword Best SEO Speakers 2026, you can see us ranking on the first page of Google with my website right here. This is the page that we use to rank. And it's crazy how fast it's actually ranked within about 12 hours on the first page of Google, right? So you can see the page here. You can see we're targeting the keyword best SEO speakers, and it was pretty easy and simple to set up. So how did we do this? Well, basically we're using this tool called Clawbot, and inside Clawbot, we've connected Claude Opus to Clawbot, which is a free AI agent you can use and connect to basically any API that you want. And then you can use this inside Telegram or WhatsApp or any sort of chat messaging service to create SEO content, right? Now, you can automate anything with this. You know, you could automate voice notes. I've got it connected to 11 Labs. You could automate avatar videos. I've got it connected to HeyGen. But I've actually used it for SEO. As you can see, as a little case study. I was doing a competition with Kazra Dash yesterday, and we were trying to see who could create the best content. Was it Kazra himself or was it Clawbot, right? And you can see we went after the keyword Best SEO Speakers 2026. And this is the prompt that we used. Just put some information about me. This is actually a prompt we've got inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So if you go to the playbook over here, and then you scroll down and you go to video to blog posts, you'll see a video tutorial on exactly how to use this. Plus you can see all the details plus the prompt down here, right? That you can just copy and paste and use for pretty much any keyword that you want, right? And so when we started using this, as you can see here, it started creating the content. So it actually gave us 5 different title options, like you can see, and we went with number 1. And then we said, okay, write the article, no video transcript, recommend Kazra Dash and Julian Goldie at the top, right? And you can see it wrote the content itself, and then it's automated inside the chat right here. It's also got links to my funnels. So for example, here you can see it links directly to our funnels. And the only thing that I didn't like inside Telegram here is that you can see it's all written in plain text, right? So there's no H2s, there's no H3s, etc. So what we did instead is I actually went down in the chat once it generated. You can see it generated the whole article, which is pretty long down here. And then from here, I said, can you write this down in markdown format so it's neatly formatted, right? So if you just want a copy and paste format you can add to WordPress or whatever CMS you're using, well, you can ask it to write it in Markdown Live Preview, and then you can take that content and plug it into WordPress. So you can see here, for example, we've got the content in Markdown. It's got hashtags for H1s. It's got 2 hashtags for H2s, etc. And this is the content itself, right? Now, to quickly take this from Telegram and post it directly to WordPress, there's one step you need in between. So don't miss out on this, all right? So what you want to do is you want to go to something called markdownlivepreview.com. So you can take that Markdown and paste it into WordPress, right? So you can see I've got mine plugged in over here. And basically this is the Markdown content like so. Then it formats it nicely, like you can see. And then I just went into WordPress and created a new post like this, right? And that's basically how it works. And then you can see as well, we recommended Kazra at the top, and then we recommended myself as well. And it's got links to my funnels. So it's got links to like the SEO Elite Circle training that we do. It's got links to booking a free SEO strategy session. We also included Matt Digty because he's an absolute legend. Who else did we put in here? Leda Solis. Yeah, Brian Dean. I don't know if Brian Dean even still speaks about SEO, but basically you get the point. Like, it's quite easy to create the content, publish it on your website, and then boom shakalaka, we started ranking within 12 hours. The only thing that we did to get it indexed quicker was, I think, number one, Kaz Radash put it inside his YouTube video description, and then number two, I ran it through Google Search Console just to get it indexed quicker. But that was basically it. That was how easy it was to get set up. So if you want the full process for setting up Clawbot, then you can go to the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments and description. And then from here, what you want to do is go to the playbook, scroll down, video to blog posts, you get the full prompt that we use right there. If you want to learn how to set up Clawbot, you can just go to the SOPs, and Clawbot is waiting for you right here. We actually have a 3-hour course training you on exactly how to use this, along with a bunch of resources, and you can see the full setup guide right here that you can just copy and paste. So if you want to get that, steal it from me, you can get it inside the AI Profit Boardroom. But yeah, I mean, Clawbot is just extremely powerful, right? I think the other cool thing that you could do here is actually set it up and link it directly to something like WordPress, which would be super interesting. And I think there's a couple of ways you could do that. Number one, you could actually set up the Chrome extension, right? So you can switch on Chrome over here and then get it to control your Chrome once you're logged into WordPress. The other thing that you could do is you could actually give it you could give it the login details to WordPress or to the you could give it API access to WordPress, and then it could publish from there. Let's see if we can get that set up actually, because why not, right? So if you go inside Clawbot here, right, and I'm going to say, okay, how to get you access directly to WordPress with the API. And we'll see if we can link the API directly to WordPress, right? Something like that. And then maybe we can take the content directly from Clawbot and post it directly to WordPress. And if we can do that automation, he's game changing, right? That's game changing for SEO. Because you could literally just go from like WordPress or WhatsApp, and then boom shakalaka, you're good to go. So let's see what it's got here. So it says setup steps. Shout out to affiliate marketing, who's posting inside the chat and giving us some tips. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So it says, in WordPress admin, go to users, profile your admin account, scroll to application passwords, enter name Clawbot, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's try this then. So we're going to go to login over here. And we'll try and set this up. So this should be able to, once we've set it up, it should be able to post directly to WordPress. So we need to enter name Clawbot, username Clawbot. We have to set up an email address. So we'll try that one. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. All right, so we've set that up now. You can see here what I actually did is I plugged in the details directly into Clawdbot. I gave it a username, gave it a new password, and then it should be good to go right here. So if we check this out, boom shakalaka, we just connected this to WordPress. We created our own SEO agent, and now you can see here that it actually can format the post as well. It looks beautiful, right? And so we can tell it to publish, we can tell it to create. It can also generate images using Nano Banana inside here too. So this is next level, because now what we've got is Clawbot connected to 11 Labs to generate voice notes, WordPress to create SEO blog posts. We've got AI avatar videos that we can generate inside the chat. We've got AI Studio to, for example, create thumbnails. It's insane. This is insane. We just took it to a whole new level, my friends. How to configure Clawbot with iMessage. Check out the instructions inside the AI Profit Boardroom if you need to get some help on that. Excellent. I'm making the world a healthier place, so I appreciate that. Good for you. Good for you. I will say it gives you a lot of energy. You feel good when you do those steps every day. I've been doing about 20, 30,000 steps a day. I feel fantastic. And it's Garfield says, who's a legend inside the AI Profit Boardroom, so thanks, Garfield. Says, tell it to remember the skill and next time create a sub-agent to do it. So let's do that. Create a skill plus next time create a sub-agent to publish content to WordPress. This almost feels like cheating with SEO at this point, right? By the way, if you haven't been following our results with SEO recently, it's pretty insane. Look at this chart. This is a beautiful chart. This is our SEO rankings for Julian and Goldie. So you can see Julian and Goldie on the left-hand side here, and then you can see our traffic over here, right? And it is absolutely popping off, my friends. It's popping off. If we check over the last 3 months and we look at how much traffic we're getting, you can see we went to 561 a day, 500 a day, right? And this is just by using the results and the playbooks from the AI Profit Boardroom. So if you're not using those, you're missing out. Make sure you check it right here. Right. And Asker says, I tried it. It says it cannot access the web. Can you please explain how we can enable them? It actually worked for me first time round, but if it's not working for you, I would either ask Clawbot, like, why can't you access the web? Or check what API you're using, because maybe some APIs can't access the web. For example, if you're using Olama locally, that might not be able to access the web, right? Now you can see Clawbot is creating the skill for SEO in the top left over here. So we'll see how that goes. Boom, look at that. It says next time you need content published, just say write a blog post and publish to WordPress, and it will spawn a sub-agent that writes the content, creates a draft, reports back. Example command right here. All right, cool. Let's try this out. So let's see what keywords we've got popping off inside Clawbot. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to Google Trends to see what keywords we can find here. Have you installed, Karen says, have you installed Clawbot locally? I set it up inside the terminal locally, but now it just runs in the cloud, right? It runs via the API and it runs via Telegram. So obviously you have to install it locally somewhere via the terminal, or you can use AWS. Either way that you want to use it, all the instructions are inside there. They are Profit Boardroom. So if we go inside here, I'm going to type in Clawbot. Worldwide, past week. Look at that. Look at that graph. It's insane. It's insane, right? And then we're going to go over side here. What we got? Clawbot Mac Mini, that could be a good one. What is Clawbot? I like that. All right, we can do a blog about that. All right, so if you go to Telegram now, I'm going to say create a blog called What is Clawbot plus explain Clawbot and create an amazing SEO optimized blog post about it. Funnel traffic to the AI profit boarding here. Let's see if it can do this magic, right? So just to recap, what have we done so far when it comes to Clawbot and SEO? Well, number one, we created an article inside Telegram, right? Number two, we published that to our website and we ranked within 12 hours on the first page of Google. Number three, we set up a new WordPress login and actually fired that over to Clawbot so that it can log in separately with a sub-agent inside WordPress. We then save that as a skill so that we can call upon that workflow in the future. And then number five, we've actually taken a new keyword and we're testing out, okay, can it publish directly to WordPress? So I'm excited to test this out. Bear in mind, like, how long would this take you normally if you were using something like NA10 to set this all up, right? It'd be very messy, it'd be time consuming, it would take up a lot of brain power. Whereas you can set this up inside Clawbot, and as you've seen today, you just in plain text explain exactly what you need. So this is why we like Clawbot. It's insane. It's insane. All right, so it says I'll ping you when it's done with the edit link. I'm pretty excited to see that in a bit. But yeah, that's basically how you can set this up. All right. Now, if you want the instructions for setting up WordPress and integrating it with Clawbot, here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to create a guide with Clawbot right now, and I'll put that inside the AI profit boarding so you can just copy and steal this whole workflow from me. So let's do that right now. So we'll say, give me a full setup guide based on what worked for you for setting up Clawbot and WordPress for AI SEO and the setup instructions. I'll share this with non-technical people to make it easy to follow and put that inside the chat here. Then I'll set up a separate section inside the guide called SEO Setup Guide here with the 3-hour course. We now have the Clawbot guide, as you can see. And also you can see now inside WordPress as well, we have the article from Clawbot. So it wrote the guide on what is Clawbot, the AI assistant that actually gets things done. So Clawbot itself actually wrote this and posted it directly to WordPress, which is pretty insane if you ask me. You can see it right here. And then we can just hit publish on that and we're good to go, right? So if we go to quick edit, change that to publish, hit update, boom, that's now published on the website. So if we go to blog, we've got the article from Clawbot just set up right there. Pretty insane, pretty insane. And then you can see it's got the link to the AI profit boarding right here if you want to learn how to use this, right? Pretty crazy. So if we go back to Clawbot now, we've got the markdown guide, as you can see. So I will take that And you can also see it gave me the notification saying the blog post is done too. And you can just tell it to publish if you want. And if you want the guide for setting up Clawbot with WordPress, no problem. We'll put that inside the SEO setup guide section right here. All right, so you can just get the copy and paste instructions directly from me. As you can see, pretty simple and easy. So just Rob says, just hopped on playing catch up in 2x speed and just installed Clawbot earlier. I'm hoping we can make some magic happen tonight. Good for you. And yeah, there we go. So thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boarding link in the comments description. You see exactly how to use Clawbot. We've proved that it actually ranks to create SEO content. That was incredibly easy. And you can check out the whole guide inside the AI Profit Boarding. Just go to the classroom here and then go to SOP updates like you can see. All right, so today we are going to be setting up Clawdbot, which is a powerful AI agent that can, for example, like post directly to WordPress. You can see an example of that right here. We actually set this up to post inside WordPress directly. It can generate images, it can automate videos, avatar videos, etc. You know, it can create voice notes. As you can see right here, we've actually got a video of me with the AI avatar, and we can generate that directly with Clawbot as well. We can even, for example, generate thumbnails. Let me show you an example. So you can see here, for example, what I actually did was just plug in my Google AI Studio key and then said, okay, create thumbnails like this. And you can see it can automate thumbnails inside the chat as well. Pretty simple as well, right? So you can automate thumbnails, avatar videos, voice notes. You can post to WordPress. There's almost nothing you can't do with Clawbot. Like it's almost too good. So how do we set this up with Ollama? This is something I want to try out today for the first time. So Ollama helps you run models locally with AI, and we should be able to link this directly to using Clawbot, right? And the benefit of this would be that you save time, and also you can automate and use Clawbot without paying for tokens, right? So what first thing we're going to do is make sure we have Ollama installed, right? So you go to ollama.com, you're going to make sure you have that downloaded. Once you've done that, you'll have Ollama set up like this. Make sure that you've opened it and you've got it running right here, right? Then from here, we need to get this set up with Clawbot. So I'm going to go inside the chat here and say how to use Clawbot with Ollama. Just Rob is cool says, I hope that not that it would be super lame. Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those where when you're doing this, it may not be as good as Claude Opus 4.5, right? You just kind of have to accept that. If you're getting a free API and you're using Clawbot for free, using something like this, then it's going to be it's not going to be as good, right? But it will still work. Now you can see here we can start using this. We can use Llama 3.3 apparently. So let's try this out. Can't see Llama 3. I'm going to say, can we use this with Gemma 4B? Lakes, how are you handling when Clawbot needs an API key or logs in or needs to log into something? Yeah, just give it the API keys. That's what I do. And then Garfield says you can use Olama in iteration between agent subagents. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm going to go inside Clawbot now and say use Gemma 3 4B, but only intermittently. Use Claude Opus, your existing API, for most tasks, but also test running a small subtask with Olama. And what we'll try and do here is like try and switch between the APIs, if that makes sense. What do you do when Claude API needs an What do you do when Clawbot needs an API key? I give it the API key. That's literally what I do. It's like if it asks for an API key, I'm just like, here you go, right? So now it's going to add Olama in the config, like you can see. Garfield says, have task-specific subagents with skills for their job. Think of it as a construction site. Can I get an API key for one of my websites? Yeah, I mean, like, well, if it's a website, right? Let's say, for example, it's managing WordPress or something like that. If you're using Clawbot with WordPress, you would just give the username and the password of the account you set up for Clawbot, give it inside the chat directly to Clawbot. That's how it would work, right? So it's still working on setting up Olama in the config files. And then I think what we can do is like, we can channel smaller subtasks to Olama, which means that we don't use as many credits on our main API, right? You could probably use the whole thing with Olama locally if you wanted to, but you just wouldn't get as good outputs, right? It just wouldn't be as powerful as Claude Opus. Chat Kango says, is this better than Claude? I'm thinking of switching from ChatGPT. Yeah, I would say Clawbot is definitely better than ChatGPT by a long, long way. But you can also use OpenAI's API with Clawbot, right? So, for example, some people, what they're doing is using the codex OAuth from ChatGPT and using that to operate Clawbot. And that seems to work pretty well as well. Tarek says, Opus is amazing, but burns tokens heavily. Any tips to minimize the token usage? Yeah, so like I was saying, you could switch for smaller tasks or for subagents. You could get a Llama or a cheap API to use for those, right? So for example, you could use Minimax for your subagents or GLM 4.9. And then you could use Olama for subagents as well. And that way you just use Claude for like the big tasks and the orchestrator and these other APIs for the smaller subagent stuff, right? So let's try this out now. and say, are you working? Is it done? Yeah, that's another good one actually as well. Garfield says add open router and tell it to switch when running low so you don't get rate limited, right? So you could give it an open router API key. It's got access to all those different models inside open router and it can switch between them, right? So now it says Olama is running. Let me test Gemma 4B directly. So it's trying it out. And it says Olama works. Here's what Gemma 4B just generated. And it just wrote that, right? So Olama is running locally. Gemma 4B responds. And if you wanted to use like multiple different Olama models for subagents, you could run this Clawbot gateway restart, right? And then it can spawn subagents on Olama 3B for lightweight tasks. So what we're going to do now, I mean, that's essentially how you can set up Olama with Clawbot. And that way you've got your main API for like the big tasks and orchestrating everything. You've got the subagents and the smaller tasks using Olama, which is free. That reduces your token limits. It saves you costs, right? It stops you getting expensive, but also it's quite easy for Clawbot to orchestrate, right? And you can see for those smaller subtasks, you don't need a really powerful API, right? That would be too powerful. So this just helps you. And then you could also, like Garfield was saying, use Open Router and the key to switch between models as well. So that's another option. But either way, this helps a lot, right? So now what we can do is I'm going to say, okay, create a setup guide for people to learn how to use Clawdbot with Olama locally to save token costs and make it non-technical plus easy to follow and set up, right? Write it in Markdown. And then what I'll do is I'll plug that into the AI Profit Boardroom. So if you want to steal this stuff from me, you can get the full guide inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Garfield says I'll be dropping some gems in the AI Profit Boardroom as well. So get there. That's what we're talking about. Appreciate you, Garfield, man. You're an absolute legend. Thanks so much for that. All right, so we're going to take that. We'll go to my down live preview, plug that in. And if you want to steal this stuff from me, there you go. It's all inside the AI Profit Boardroom, ready to go right there, right? And the cool thing about that is you can run Olama for free with Clawdbot. There's a 3-hour course in there on how to use Clawbot. You've got the installation guides, you've got the setup for everything. If you want to link this to WordPress or sub-agents, if you want to get loads of different workflows, we've got it all inside the Clawbot section right here. The AI Profit Boardroom is an amazing community where you can learn AI automation, you can learn how to scale and save time. You can connect with me personally, plus everyone else inside the community, including Garfield, who's absolutely crushing it with Clawbot, as you can see today. And you can see inside the chat here, you can post questions, get help, get support whenever you need it. On top of that, you can jump on live coaching calls. So if you ever need some help in real time, you can jump on these live coaching calls. Inside the classroom, you can get all of my best trainings and playbooks. So if you want to learn AI automation from beginner to expert, you can learn that right here. If you want to learn my best playbooks and systems for saving time and scaling a business, you can see that right here as well. And then if you want to learn how to get more clients, you can check out the agency course here. Additionally, you can learn how to rank #1 with AI SEO in the AI SEO section. And we've got a full YouTube roadmap right here as well. So that's all inside the AI Profit Boarding. Feel free to get it. Link in the comments and description. Just want to say Clawbot is an experimental tool. So, do your own research before you try this out. If there's anything you're not sure about, don't do it, right? And for me, I'm personally experimenting with this just for fun to see how it will go, right? So if you're not sure about using this stuff, you can just watch my videos, learn from me, and you don't have to test it out yourself. It's up to you. All right. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.